Hello scientists! Today I've got a couple things for you. First of all, there's the vocabulary list. I know you were working on that a while back. On that vocabulary list, I made a Quizlet. And on the Quizlet, there's a whole list of all the vocabulary that's on the parts 1, 2, and 3. And there's little pictures that go with that. There's all the definitions there. Everything you need to complete the vocabulary is on that Quizlet link. So if you go to any of the vocabulary assignments, you'll find the link there to complete that. Or there's also a link after today's lab activity for the Quizlet vocabulary games. Actually, activity games, there's a whole bunch of things there you can do with the vocabulary to try to learn it. So if you know that vocabulary, you'll understand everything else that goes with this unit. So there's the vocabulary to work on this week. Again, do one part at a time. Don't try to do the whole list of like 30 words all at once. That's crazy. So little chunk at a time. Maybe if one part is too much for you, do 2 or 3 words a day or so. All right, you learn it better that way too. And when you before you go to do the next few words, review the previous words as well. So today there's the lab over here, the gravity simulation. This one I've kind of let this run for quite a while and I've made kind of a mess out of it. But if you go on to Canvas, there's the link for today's gravity lab. Now, if you go to play the gravity lab and you're using an Apple device, it's not going to work. So it runs on a Flash animation and Apple doesn't like Flash. So if you want to do this on a Chromebook, a PC, it should work fine. If you don't have those resources today, if you get to it tomorrow or something, that's fine. If you have trouble with it, let me know. I'll give you a few pointers, some troubleshooting tips. So we go ahead and we open up Canvas. And on Canvas, you're going to click on the link for the lab up here. So we click that. It opens up our simulation. And that big play button, we're going to click that. And it says something about downloading. Ignore the download. Don't download anything. So we open up the lab. And then there's these pull-down menus over here. There's a whole chart down here where you could put some inputs. And over here, it tells you what to set the inputs to. So there's going to be some initial settings that you're going to copy. And then it goes over the directions. Make sure you read these directions. Look at everything. So you're going to click for it to show the grid box. You're going to drag the sliders to set them up. And then make sure you also have the correct number of bodies set. So you set the speed to accurate, then 3 bodies. And then you go back over to the screen over here, and then we're going to go ahead and get those settings correct. So I go over to the right side there. You'll see where it says the 2 boxes, leave them checked, show the grid, so you kind of measure a little better and get an idea of the scale. Slide the slider to accurate, and then you can click start and play around with it a little bit. You can hit stop and reset in case you mess up. And then down here, you set the bodies to 3. And then I'm going to go back over to the directions in Canvas, and I'm going to look at this screenshot that I put on here, and I'm going to look at what settings I need to mark down there. So I got 500, 1. You're probably not going to remember all these. You might want to write these down on a scratch piece of paper, go back over here, and write down or enter in your settings. So that way it changes the mass of the sun and the mass of the planets, and it sets their velocity, in other words, the speed at which they're initially moving. So the starting speed and the masses, we're going to set them so that way we're all looking at the same thing. Now you can go back after the lab and change those settings if you like and see how that affects things, and if you have a really massive planet, how that affects the sun, or if a really massive sun, how that affects the planet. So that'll move those things around as you change those numbers there. And once you have them all set, you've entered them in, then you'll go ahead and start the simulation. So I'm just looking back here, looking at the numbers, entering them in. All right, so now that all the numbers are entered in, we're ready to go ahead and play. So make sure you read the directions here. You're going to click start. You'll let the animation play, and then you go ahead and click stop, and then you go ahead and answer the questions. Once you're done with the questions, then you're going to go and do one of the presets up there. So first you let it play, then I'm not going to let it go all the way around right now. You stop it, and then you answer the questions. Then you're going to do for the part 2, you'll look at the presets up here. And there's a few different things to choose from. For this one, you're going to use the ellipses, and you'll click start. You'll see what that looks like. I'm not gonna let it play right now. And then you go ahead and when you're all done, play around with some of these other ones. The 4-star ballet is really cool. So it starts out pretty cool. Again, I'm not gonna play it right now. I'm gonna let you play with that on your own. And there's a few others. Check them all out. I mean, it's pretty interesting. It uses some simulations, how gravity would work and how it would make these things move around. So go ahead, explore, have some fun with that. If you're gonna do these, I suggest change the slider to fast. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting there all day waiting for it to play out. So again, have fun with it, experiment, check it out there, and answer the questions on the quiz. All right, again, you get 2 chances. Whatever your highest score is, that's the one that gets entered in the grade book. So if you mess up, look back at your errors, do it again. On your second attempt, hopefully you do better. All right, and that's it. So go ahead and see if you get some of those planets to crash or fly off or make some interesting patterns. If you come up with something really unusual and you want to take a screenshot and send it to me, go right ahead. All right, so you've got the lab done. So now you've done the quiz, you've done the lab, you've answered the questions. Now those questions are all about analyzing your results. Of course, that's the last step of the scientific method, where you got to think about what did you observe, what does it mean? So that's what the questions are about there. Hopefully you did the best you could on there. If you have any questions, remember we always have our weekly meeting in the middle of the day on Wednesday. You can always tune into that, ask some questions, and I'll probably demonstrate a few things about gravity as well at our next meeting. So let me know, inbox me any questions you've got, I'm available. And until then, stay curious. All right, so Schulman Labs is out of here.